So for the movie I did for the 222 assignment, I did The Graduate. In summary, The Graduate is about a boy named Ben who comes home from college and he doesn't know what he wants to do. But yeah, everybody keeps asking, oh, what's next? What's next? Oh, you're gonna work through blah, blah, blah. And so Ben is trying to avoid that at all cost, and he ends up starting a relationship with his parents' friends. She's an older woman, unhappy in her marriage. She seduces him. Ben, being a very clueless person, falls for it. Yeah, and then later in the movie, he ends up falling for his mistress's daughter, the one person which his mistress said to stay away from. So Elaine is the daughter, and he ends up falling for her very hard. The parents try to keep them apart. Elaine is set up to marry somebody else. Ben comes, crashes the wedding. They ride off on this dirty bus, and at the end they're like, oh, we did it. And then 2 seconds later, like, what have we done? Alright, so what is this art doing? This movie, I'm gonna start off, it doesn't appeal to a very large audience. It appeals to white, upper class people, pretty much, yeah. It's about a rich boy, has rich boy problems. He really is like, I don't know what I want to do with my life, and the parents want him to go to college or work at a firm because their reputation's online. They never really ask him, hey Ben, what do you want to do now? What do you really want to do? They don't ask. They only care about their reputation and such. Because they're the wealthy family, they have to uphold a certain image within the community. So Ben kind of moves. So then there's a party. And then he goes home. He drives one of their parents' friends home. She's an older woman, and she ends up seducing Ben, but Ben is completely clueless. He's like, Mrs. Robinson, are you seducing me? And then, she plays him like a fiddle. He doesn't realize it. And so he ends up running out of that house very flustered. Yet, I think it was the only time in his life he felt uncomfortable, to be honest. It was the only time he experienced something out of the realm of, oh, he's our trophy boy. So he never experienced something like that. He's very shocked, doesn't know how to respond. He's a very sheltered kid. So he goes home, and now he's still like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. And so then he does end up calling Mrs. Robinson. They have an affair. Yet through this whole movie, The Sound of Silence plays kind of pretty consistently throughout the film, beginning and kind of sometimes in the middle. And that's kind of like the whole, kind of like, that's Ben for you. He's very blank-faced most of the time. He just drifts. He's just drifting in life. And now he's faced with a question that will define the rest of his life. The one that really matters, what is he gonna do? And he can't rely on his parents anymore, and he realizes that. And so I think like a big thing about this film is for its time, it had some shocking scenes that probably weren't really put on the movie screen a lot of other places. So people remember it kind of vividly. Also, I think it's because it relates to people, as in they feel like they're being pushed around what they do. Sometimes they feel like they're floating in life. They don't really know what they want. So I think that's like, the big impact of what this story's about, is somebody trying to figure out what they want and having no clue. He literally has no clue what he wants. So he does things. So he's trying to like rebel a little bit. He rebels against Mrs. Robinson by dating her daughter, Elaine. He rebels against his parents from marrying Elaine, kind of. He just doesn't want to work. He doesn't want to be like his parents. And then one scene, for his birthday, he gets a scuba suit, and his dad like pushes him under, and it's kind of like a symbol of just him just like drowning, or like under the pressure of all this weight of his parents. And then later he embraces that feeling, and he's in the pool all the time, and the scuba suit just sitting on the ground. I think it's that was a way to escape from everybody and the responsibilities of life, because he doesn't want to participate in life. He just wants to hang around. He just wants to do his own thing, which is nothing. He wants to just like kind of like just take it all in for a moment, and people aren't letting him do that. They aren't giving him the opportunity. They're constantly giving him job propositions, asking him, what do you want to do? And obviously this movie was important because a lot of people use the scene of the when he crashes the wedding, he's like banging on the door. Like pretty much the only time he's ever really shown emotion is when he's banging on that window, like his life depended on it, because he literally has nothing else. Like this is the only thing he really ever has to fight for, and so he's fighting for his life for it, thinking it's gonna change his life, but it doesn't. At the end, they're both like, what did we just do? You know, they're both kind of like done with their parents, done with the world telling them what to do, and they want something different, yet they don't know how to get it. So at the end, they finally think they achieved it, but then they realize they're upset, they're not happy, they're like, why did we do this? You know, what was the point of all this? Nothing really has changed. And so, this movie is unsatisfying. It's unsatisfying because there's not a happy ending. There's no real bad guy here. There's no, like, clear victory, which is a lot of movies have, which is completely fine. I don't mind that. I like that, actually. Because it forces you to think, you know, why this movie? Why did they make this movie? Why did they feel the need to make this movie? And so, I think that's a question I want to go into. I think the need for this movie was because a lot of people feel like Ben. They feel lost in the world, they don't know what they want. They're really not getting any emotion out of life. They don't want a corporate job. They don't want to go back to colleges. No, they lost their passion. So they relate to Ben because Ben's someone who lost his passion for life in general, not just in something, just in life. He's done with life. But when he meets Elaine, he kind of gets that back. It's kind of like rebellion against everything. Like, nobody wants him to do it, so he has to do it. And so, to defy the society norms of, like, it's just kind of also a battle with society, because he takes the bride away from the altar. And this is, again, reprised in other movies. So he defies society by taking the girl and not being happy. Still. So no matter what Ben does, he's not going to be happy. I think that's, you know, a great message to send to people, is like, you're in a loop and you can't get out of it. So people are now faced with, okay, what do I do now? I kind of think this movie is also a little bit overrated. I mean, yeah, people can relate to it. Some people, but not everybody. Not everybody has the luxury to say, oh, I'm so privileged in life, I can do whatever I want, but I don't know what I want to do. People are forced to, you know, feed their families. They don't have the option to dwell on those questions. So I think in that way, people don't realize how privileged they are to have to, like, deal with this problem. Which is also, like, another, you know, another problem with, or, like, another message the movie's sending, is that sometimes people don't realize what they have. So Ben, you know, he's somebody, he has great privilege, he has great potential, good grades, star athlete, wealthy family, and yet he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't want to be forced into a box, which I think a lot of people can relate with, but I don't know if everybody can relate to Ben. So, in summary, this movie was, you know, asking a big question, what are you going to do with your life? And it's also asking, is the life we're living really worth living? You know, a lot of people have lost passion for this life. They feel lost, they feel nothing really, they don't feel anything. So they do ridiculous things to try to feel something when it still doesn't work. Because the problem isn't on the outside, it's what's on the inside. The problem is, you know, with you as a person, you're missing something. And it's not something you're going to gain by rebelling or doing crazy actions or stealing some person's wife. And it also, like, confronts the reality of, you know, rich people, like, is your reputation really all at something? Like, you have to force your kid into, like, this state of mind just for your reputation. And also, it's kind of like a warning to other people, is to follow what you want to do and not what other people want to do. To watch this movie, you're going to end up like Ben. And stop worrying. So overall, I think this movie is a pretty significant movie, a little overrated. People of privilege are also only be able to relate to this. So that's my thoughts on this.